And welcome to Canada Live on OrionTalkRadio.com. And I'm here with our guest, Dr. Carpenter. And we're also here with her co-host, Randy. How's it going?
Hi. How's it going?
And I haven't...
how's it going, eh?
How's it going, eh? And I can't seem to pull up my co-host, Ron, into the call. And I think that might be because it may have to be brought in from the Orion's end, but we can bring him in on the next break, I'm sure.
And then Julia.
And Julia as well. We're waiting for her to call in.
Okay, so you know that song, Easy Like Sunday Morning? Well, this Sunday morning is not easy at all.
So anyways, I haven't talked to you guys since before the raid with the FDA. So I was wondering if you could talk about that for a bit.
Okay, I can give you a brief rundown, all right? As you know, we have been hounded by the medical establishment through the Arkansas system, supposedly legal system, actually is outlaw system, and supporting the interest of the medical school research in Little Rock. And we have been hounded by phony charges, by phony lawsuits, by violating the Constitution, all sorts of problems. And then that eased off because they illegally ran a trial and charged us with a $2.5 million penalty. Ridiculous, and it could not have been because I wasn't at the trial, so that should have gone into default. But anyway, and then the attorney coming out looking like a pig because he must have been receiving a lot of money from special interest to do what he did, and he said, well, we know we can't really claim and get this money, but at least we use this to show that people should not go to Les Meeting because what they do is bad. And any woman that wants to go to Les Meeting for breast cancer treatment, she should be dissuaded by what happened in this trial. And I was left. This year, this happened last year. This year, we were moving the office, and we were moving the files, and we were putting the file in storage because we didn't have room in the new office. So we moved the files, and a piece of paper flew out of the file. Only one single piece of paper, and that was about the poster child that all our opponent were using as this woman Cindy that died, and the paperwork actually was indicating that, and I had totally forgotten. In addition to breast cancer, which we treated, she also had another type of cancer, thyroid cancer, which she didn't want to have treated by us. So she wanted to follow what she was doing with alternative methods. And she had another cancer. Nobody ever mentioned it. And they all said her cancer metastasized, and it was because of what we did. It was our fault. And nobody ever mentioned she had another type of cancer. So we started these videos. Right. And so we started posting this video on YouTube, The Truth Rises to the Top, and we discussed all the cases they have been attacking us with, showing what the situation was, and all surrounded by absolute lies. And that's when the enemy started again. And so they pushed it, trying to collect the $2.5 million. Okay, can you get blood out of a stone? No.
Now when I was going to say here, when these videos went up on YouTube and what else, Vimeo, they were pulled down right away.
Vimeo was crazy. The thing. Not only did it get pulled down within like minutes of its original upload, but they deleted our account as well without a word. It says this has been determined, disruptive and something else that they used. Disruptive, though, and offensive. So we're going to not only take the video down, we're going to delete your Vimeo account.
Nobody ever said that what they said about me was offensive. Oh, of course not. Telling the truth is offensive, see? But anyway, so, and then we had to have, and they kept taking it down. We reposted, modified, they kept taking it down. I think the one that is up now is the 5th version. But the only thing that came out of that is when they start attacking us about naming the individual that were slandering us, then we complained. They had to turn around, and they were trapped, so they had to take down the videos that were attacking us, calling me a murderer and all that garbage. So that went nowhere, and the money they couldn't collect. I don't have any money, and besides, they couldn't do it because the corporation is a Nevada corporation. The Oklahoma court has no jurisdiction, so they couldn't do it. And as far as I'm concerned, I don't have anything, so there was nothing to take or steal. So that went nowhere. So what did they do? Somehow, connection with FDA, we end up with the FDA raid.
Am I on, John?
Yes, you're on with us.
Yes, you are.
Just a question for Dr. Carpenter, right?
Sure.
They got you nailed down as a fraud and everything, and they're coming at you like wildebeest or whatever. But, my 54-year-old cousin just died in Toronto from brain tumors and bone cancer. And they treated her for a long time, and they cut tumors out, and they did all kinds of things to her, chemo, all that kind of stuff, and she died. Does that make the medical profession quacks?
Yeah,
It should.
Actually, they are.
Well, if we're using the same method that they're using on you,
Yeah.
then they are quacks.
They are, because you know what? There is more to this story. All the people that are attacking me and accusing me, and they say, oh, this person died, they came to me, and then they decided that the healing process, they didn't believe me what the healing process involves, and they decided to go back to an oncologist, and they were pumped with chemo radiation. After that, they died. They didn't die after my treatment. They died after the standard treatment. But
Well, people die. Okay,
Yeah.
People die. People get sick. People try to get healed, and some people do get healed, and some people die. So it's not news that the pharmaceutical industry, the pills that people are ingesting, kills more people, I think, than traffic accidents in the United
Right.
States. So for every death that happens in the so-called mainstream medical field, are these people dragged out and beat on and vilified?
no,
Of course not.
They said we tried our
no.
best.
But what I'm trying to get at is that
I know.
if you were part of the mainstream health system, and
Right.
one of your patients died,
Then that's it.
you would hear nothing about it,
Right.
right? But because
Because-
you're outside of their system.
And I don't use any drugs.
No, and because you're outside of their system, you are a threat to their system, and therefore they must crush you.
Right.
Yeah,
That's
well,
okay.
people just need to understand that. And as we talked about off air, I mean, if I come to you versus somebody else, and you tell me what you do and what kind of results you had in that, and I research it, I make a decision, okay, and I decide I'm going to work with you. That is a decision between me and you. No one else. Nobody
Right.
else. Nobody has the right or the lawful authority to stand in between you and I as two adults making a decision. Nobody.
Oh, but they
Right.
want to.
But they
Well,
want
that's-
to be.
but they've been allowed to. That's the problem. They've been allowed
Yeah.
to. We've allowed them to be our protectors, if you wish.
Right, because we are not capable of thinking and deciding for ourselves. Just like the Social Security, we are not capable of saving for our retirement. So the government step in and take the money and save it for us. And then what? When it's time to collect the money, well, the company.
Well, we had a bit of a financial downturn. Sorry
Right,
about that
so we
pension.
can't-
Sorry about that.
Right, but they were better than the individual to take care of their future, but then they steal the money and they say, well, we can't do anything about it. Well, wouldn't you have been better off doing it yourself? And why shouldn't you? See? It's hypocritical to steal money.
We live in the nanny state.
Yeah.
They look after us from birth to death, and they abuse us from birth to death.
The evil step nanny.
The evil step nanny, yeah.
It's just unbelievable. But what surprises me is that people go along with that. That's what surprises
Well,
me.
they're bombarded. Everywhere they turn around, they're bombarded, right?
And this week
They-
I found out. See, they stole all the file when they did the raid. They raided us under false pretenses. By the way, you know what? They made an appointment for a supposed patient, and I guess she couldn't talk for herself, and her nephew was making all the arrangement. Okay, and they made an appointment, and then the FDA showed up, 8 people.
We're hitting break time, I think, already.
I think. But before we had the break, I was talking about the raid and the things they did. And with this excuse, mind you, this raid that took everything, all our file and all our equipment, everything, so I couldn't work anymore. That was intended for that reason. And then what they did, they took the money, so I couldn't, in the safe, so I couldn't pay my bills and I would be in the street. Okay? That's what they did. And they called it investigational raid. They did a raid, took everything so I can't survive, but it's just an investigation to find out.
Yeah, I mean,
That's unbelievable.
what does taking your bill money have to do with an investigation?
Right. Oh, because I said, what do you mean taking my money? And he said, well, this money was obtained with this fraudulent treatment. Have you proven that it's fraudulent?
Nope.
No. Guilty before proven innocent. That's against the Constitution.
There is no Constitution.
I know there is, but they're not using it. Yeah,
Wow.
recognizing it. Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah.
You know, the bandits are running the show right now, right?
Yeah.
Like just down the road from me, I got a milk farmer, and he actually saved my father-in-law's life with raw unpasteurized liquid yogurt, where they couldn't stop the C. diff any other way. And I finally found somebody that would let us give it to him. And I mean, he's been raided twice, and it goes back to the same thing. The people wish to have his milk, and they know what they're doing, and the government steps in and says, oh, we said it's not safe. And the people's, well, people have been drinking cow. If people didn't drink cow's milk, nobody would have ever survived in the first place. So, and now they've raided him again because of a sheep farmer that got raided. And they're just going to raid people and try to bankrupt them and everything. And if you're a good criminal, they will give you money and a fresh start and a house, and you may even end up being I'm waiting for the headline: Canada decides that pedophiles will now be put in charge of daycare. That way they can keep track of them.
Oh boy.
Well, it just like the Boy Scout. Okay, they can have homosexual in the Boy Scout. Excuse me? It's a kid in a candy store.
Yeah, everything is upside down.
Yeah, and let me ask you something, because you used that phrase. What are the good criminals? What's the definition of good criminal? You said the good
criminal. We're the good criminals. Right? They've criminalized us.
No, we're not criminals. We're not good criminals. What we are is we are the dissidents, the underground revolution. That's what we are.
No. No, we're not.
Here we go. Julie Mitchell, take it.
We are not the underground revolution.
I like what Nathan and them were saying. I've been listening to them, and the Larkin Rose guy. Who gives this person the right to come into my house and use a battering ram on my door? Because I have 3 marijuana plants in my closet and locked me in jail for 33 days. I don't think so.
Right.
That ain't cool.
And
I wasn't doing anything. I wasn't bothering anybody.
Right.
That makes me very, very angry. And the people that did it are, they're selling their drugs, the ones with the pharmaceuticals.
That killed
Three
people.
plants, I'm sure that was for your.
They have a Medicaid card. They are insured. I've never had insurance hardly in my entire life, just hardly ever. They go to the doctor every week, and they get the pills that the pharmaceutical companies make, and the doctors push, and they sell those, and they take them like crazy and make a living. They do all these hard drugs, and they're the people that they pay to tell. They pay them to tell on people like me. They call them confidential informants.
Yeah. Let me ask you a simple question. Okay, simple question. You got 3 plants, they knock you down your door and they take your plants or whatever, right? Who gave these people jurisdiction over a plant? It is a natural growing plant.
Nobody gave it to them. Nobody gave it to them.
Exactly.
They just assumed the right.
But they have no lawful authority anywhere in the government or anywhere else to legislate and or ban a natural growing plant. I mean, what are they going to do? Ban my apple tree? Ban my pear tree?
Back in the colonial days, you had extra taxation.
I'll tell you something else about the legalization push. That is coming straight from your government. That is a psychological operation, because when you legalize something, it changes it. Then they can pass a law around who can make it, if they can genetically modify it, who can grow it, who can sell it, who can smoke it. We don't want legalization. We don't want them messing with it. It's a plant. I want to grow it in my garden like tomatoes if I want to, and that's called decriminalization.
Exactly.
There's a big push going for legalization.
They are criminalizing the guy that grows the cabbage and the guy that grows the tomato and the guy that grows the egg are all being criminalized.
Just like they're calling walnuts a drug.
For the legalization push to legalize marijuana.
Yeah, but you got to remember the golden rule, okay? Legal and lawful are two completely different animals.
Right.
Okay? Completely different animals. They have no law, they have no lawful authority, okay, to ban or regulate anything that grows on this planet, but they say they have the legal authority. Okay? Two totally different animals. And we got to get away from this legal garbage.
Well, we have to also push lawyers out of the planet, because they have made a mess of things.
Speaking of lawyers, they have are not just lawyers, but people. Our English language has been so manipulated by the media. And I got into this with Julie a week or so ago. We were talking about decriminalization versus legalization. And because of the media that I've been exposed to most of my life, I always thought of legalization as being more open than decriminalization. I always thought decriminalization would mean, okay, we'll just legalize it for cancer patients, AIDS patients, and it'll be who can do it and who can't. And that legalization would be the more open option. But as Julie points out, it's actually backwards, and that's the way that I've kind of been taught.
You want all the laws stricken from the record. You want anything that's ever been written in regard to marijuana stricken from the record. It's no business. How you grow it, where you grow it, it's your business.
And why you grow it.
And there was a time in this country's history where you
don't even want to let them write decriminalization into the law, because when you let them do that, they assume the right to take decriminalization out of the law at a later date.
Right.
They just need to forget it and leave it alone.
Well, it's just like, who gives...
You don't bother us. We're not bothering them. We live out here. They want to try to forcibly take my money for taxes. I'm tired of it. If I buy my house, I shouldn't have to pay somebody $1,000 a year every year from then on to live in it.
Break music.
Yeah.
Well, that is true.
Everything.
Coming up to a break. You're listening to Canada Live on OrionTalkRadio.com. And welcome back to Canada Live on OrionTalkRadio.com. And I think we had a clip we were going to play.
We're gonna switch to that, because what we were planning today was really discuss a subject connected with the fact that all these people are getting, and we were too rated, and FDA is outstepping their rights and their position and their mandate, and they're attacking people and they don't have a legal right to do that.
Yet there's one person in the media who every day puts out a different story, crying wolf, about the FDA rating people, and he never has, and I venture to say never will, mention the name Antonella Carpenter on his show or on his website.
And what happened to us or anything. So we want to expose, because this person, contrary to what he presents himself, is actually control opposition. So we're going to have a discussion about what he does and what he really is about. Okay?
And we're going to start it with
our friend's tobacco shop down here in Bowling Green. They're shutting tobacco shop, or not in Bowling Green, but in Cape Girardeau. They have this machine where they could go in and they could buy their own tobacco and roll their own cigarettes, and they were very inexpensive to do that way. And the federal government came in and took them away.
Why? With that excuse? What excuse?
Yeah. It's everywhere, but you don't hear about them talking. They don't talk about all that stuff. What they talk about, they make up.
Yeah.
Right.
You know,
it's mainly coming from this guy right here.
Let's get this on. About to miss my flight. Come on. I went to the airport to catch my flight. The TSA is the naked body scanner line. I don't want radiation, so I opted out. But when they grabbed my man jumped, I couldn't help myself. I had to shout. I had to get my message out. Don't touch my junk. Don't touch my junk.
Yeah.
I'll have you arrested. You touch my junk. Don't touch my junk.
Did you get that off my MP3 player, Randy?
No. We're not going to play the whole thing. But no, I actually got that off YouTube.
Oh, because I got it. My whole MP3 player is just full of those funky tunes.
Oh yeah. And the thing is, the guy's got so much money coming out his ears. He's got a recording studio, and he has a thought. He's got a couple of love songs even under some weird Greek sounding artist name that he uses like a pseudonym. But and he's got these rap tunes too. But
He sounds black in the rap tune.
well, yeah, that's what everybody does when they do rap. You know what I'm saying, yo?
Yeah. Well, but anyway. So, we all know we're talking about Mike Adams. And I think that Julie has a lot to say about Mike Adams. That is not the image that he's portraying.
Well,
No,
didn't
he
your
isn't.
articles get
He's
pulled
a
down?
scary guy.
Huh?
Huh? He's a scary guy.
Well,
Well,
didn't your
because
articles
I
get
think Mike
pulled
Adams
down?
is
I don't
All
know,
of
did
them.
he? Yeah.
every single one of them. They on the one side, on the Examiner, they were every single one of them. They were taken down. Not one, none of them were left. And I went in and I republished them before it's news, and I attached the PDFs that they sent. Mike Adams and his group, they sent those to the via the Phoenix Law Group to Examiner, and I published them on there. I attached them to the ends.
How the hell
The
does
article.
Mike Adams have the authority to come over to another website and get stuff ripped off, you know?
That's what I'm telling you about Mike Adams. He's a scary guy because he comes across as he's got this really nice, good guy image, and behind the scenes, he's steadily and just constantly destroying lives and destroying companies like Adya and Organic Jar. And, they're down there in Ecuador right now, and I still haven't looked at that as closely as I should. I did get in touch with the guy that has all the information again this week. But, they're just up to despicable things behind the scenes. And out in front, for the people, they're just, we're wonderful people.
Yeah, because I had patients that actually told me, okay, you need to read his newsletter, and they were forwarding me his newsletter. He's such a great person. People that are in the alternative interest area, and they really believe in alternative way, they think that Mike Adams is a hero. And this particular patient of mine told me, he was thrown out of the country. He had to leave because otherwise they would have arrested him. And he went to Ecuador, and that's when he can write these things and operate from Ecuador. And she really believed that. And I'm saying, so how come he's back? And how did that work if they're going to arrest him? Okay?
It just happens to show up on Alex Jones's show.
See, that's the thing.
They dominate the natural health industry. They dominate that. So
Yeah.
they've got
Julia?
their guys in charge. So, yeah.
Have you ever read, this guy, Mike Adams, and everybody better understand this. I called this guy out years ago and took a lot of flack for it, but I don't care. I'm a researcher. If you go to his site and you, I don't have the link with me right now, but if you go to his site and you just hit the search bar and put in the environment of thought experiment, what will come up here is who Mike Adams is. Mike Adams is a minion for the UN globalist One World Order, whatever you want to call, depopulation group. Are we into a break again?
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so. Not
Got
yet.
a few minutes.
No? Okay, anyways, natural news. Protecting the environment isn't a liberal idea. It's everybody's business. Liberal or conservative, Democrat, Republican, the environment provides life support for all of us. And if we fail to recognize that, we are truly doomed as a civilization. I'll just go through this really quick. The Earth's resources are limited. That's UN lingo. Each person living in a modern civilization consumes some amount of the Earth's limited resources. Yada, yada, yada. Humans are altering the environment. You can't argue with this. Humanity or humans really like to have babies. That's a bad thing. We have two choices. One, we can acknowledge the ecological impact of human beings on our planet and make conscious choices to live within the bounds of sustainable balance, which is UN Agenda 21.
Sustainable.
Can humanity save itself? Saving human civilization from its own ignorance is no easy task. So all you people that are Mike Adams fans understand that he looks upon you as the ignorant human masses. And down here, he is talking about what?
It gets worse here because I was looking around and just punching in natural news and different sustainable and United Nations and UNESCO terms. And, you'd find some pro and some anti. And here's one, right around the Rio Plus 20 conference, the 20th anniversary of the Agenda 21 plan down in Rio. And there's an article here, Australia plans to create world's largest marine park network. And they're pushing Rio Plus 20 in these plans that, oh, yes, they can agree on something, and isn't it a good thing? And I mean, you can find article after article up here. There's even a sustainability news articles and information feed here. It's all, to me, this is all Agenda 21. You're pushing articles linking directly to the Rio conference, and it's not linking to it in a bad way. It's like, oh, look at this great thing that happened at Rio. And it's like, but over on the other hand, he's talking about, you see him on Alex Jones about, oh, we got to stop Agenda 21 and they're going after the farmers and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, these guys are liars.
They are.
Doublespeak. It's total doublespeak. Which side are you on? Which side are they on?
And the other thing, okay, what they are saying, this is total stupidity and contradiction. They're saying humans like to have babies. Well, then how come they have this huge movement against abortion or Planned Parenthood? That's a contradiction.
They are, well, I mean, if you've ever read UN documents, which are painful to read because they're written in a linguistic manner that is asinine, is that in one paragraph they will tell you one thing, in the next paragraph they will tell you the exact opposite thing, and it goes that down through the document, and that's exactly what the kind of garbage you hear on Alex Jones and this Mike Adams guy and that. I mean, Alex Jones tells everybody not to listen to mainstream media, and then he turns around and he says, oh, I just got these articles in from AP and Reuters, so there it is, folks. It's the truth. You just told us not to believe them.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys are so full of crap, it hurts, but the average individual has been so mind-numbed and stupefied through the education system that they came up through and from the media they listen to and watch, they can't even grasp what's being talked about.
We're coming up to a break, so we'll pick this up on the other side. Okay. Welcome back to Canada Live on OrionTalkRadio.com, and we're here with our guest, Dr. Carpenter, and co-host Randy, and we also have Julie. And I've read a few of Julie's articles here that she published up on Before It's News, and Julie also, her articles were published up on theexaminer.com, and a certain somebody had those articles removed from theexaminer.com. And it's what we have here is we have a few disgruntled individuals that are disgruntled with the same person for different reasons here. And we're kind of venting a few of those reasons. And here's the thing, folks. I mean, for any of you that are realizing that, some of these leaders in the truth movement might be not so much on the up and up, it's time for people to stop looking to people as leaders and stop following, the next guru or the next whatever it is, and to just do something about the situation we're facing, rather than looking to the next Mike Adams.
Especially when the guru is there to take you in the wrong way.
Yeah. I mean, all that I've noticed, a big commonality is the doublespeak of Agenda 21, where these gurus go on about how Agenda 21, we got to stop it, and then they're covertly pushing it through their back means on their own websites, through other programs like Eco Villages or Thrive or whatever, like a Zeitgeist or a Venus Project. Those are all UN Agenda 21 sustainability programs with just different frosting on the same New World Order United Nations cake. That's all it is, and it's just
I've got news for them. The only problems we have, they have engineered. Okay, there's nothing. The only problem is that if humanity is doing any damage, it's because of what they have done to us. The sun beats down on us every day. It should be a one-time thing. Solar power should be easy and readily available for us to attach to our house, not so expensively, and we shouldn't have to pay the oil barons to let us live and heat and cool our homes.
But then, Julia, the oil boys and the solar boys and the fight between them is the same bunch of people. Okay?
Yeah. That's why we need to take it out of their hands.
That is another false paradigm that they're playing.
Well, I mean, that's why wood stoves are quote-unquote unsustainable.
That's not the point. That's not the point. The point is they've engineered it that way.
Well, absolutely. But the idea is that we have lots of power. Power is readily available. We're not out of oil now or anytime soon. We have a 3,000-year supply of coal on the planet, according to the people that wrote Agenda 21. So it's a cheap source of energy. It is easily cleaned. I mean, they have the technology, and I'm not talking about carbon sequestration. I'm talking about putting the stacks on the coal plants. The reason they say they won't put the scrubbers on the coal plants, and I spent a long time talking to the senior policy advisor for the Ministry of Energy of Ontario, the reason they won't put the scrubbers on the coal plants, which takes out the sulfurs and the toxins and the NOx2s and all that kind of stuff, is that they say that the government says that they won't put the scrubbers on because it doesn't stop CO2. And CO2 is the trigger mechanism of which everything's being controlled under. So, if you want to use solar, but there's no shortage of energy. Okay, then you got to go back to Morris Strong, who said specifically, isn't the only hope for the planet is that we destroy that the industrialized nations collapse. Isn't it our responsibility to bring that about? This is the major person from Agenda 21, Rockefeller, CFR, UN. So this whole energy nonsense that's being played out now is just that, nonsense. It's a continuation of the 1974 or whenever that was, of the oil crisis, which again was a fraud.
You're playing into their hands by even entering into that argument with them about the energy nonsense question.
How so?
Because free energy is all around us. We shouldn't have to pay them to do that. Then you have to connect all the other dots that go along with it. Because you got people like Mike Adams out here, okay? They have done things. When you have to look at it from a scientific point of view, and Dr. Carpenter will understand what I'm saying. When you have a water filter attached under your sink, it's made out of carbon, okay? Charcoal. It's a charcoal filter, I should say. That's what it is. That is the filter. When you strip the filter from the earth, that is coal. That's why we've got all this bacteria and our groundwater is getting so bad. In the meantime, you've got Mike Adams destroying a company like Adyo Clarity that makes your water back into the mineralized water that the earth used to be able to give you. It's like a huge conspiracy where they make you unhealthy and try to kill you and keep you involved in that stupid argument about whether or not you should have to pay them for coal when you should be able to get what's coming right down from the sky. You see what I'm saying?
No, I don't have a problem with that, Julia.
I'm not going to argue with them about whether or not there's enough freaking coal.
No.
I don't care because I know there's enough sunlight and it's right outside my window, really and I don't have to pay them to go get it.
I realize that, but if you're going to try to run off as solar,
very expensive.
It's not very efficient with the geoengineering they're doing,
and it's not as expensive as it used to be. It shouldn't be expensive. It should not. That's my whole point. It should be very inexpensive. It should be everywhere, easily available. This country is made for it. Our roofs just sit out in the sun and bake.
Well, maybe where you are, but if you live in Seattle, you're going to have a hard time running a solar panel and running your house on the solar panel.
You can get enough power from other parts of the country. The Sahara
that's the whole deal. That's the whole deal, okay, is that they focus on right now it is renewable energy.
And if you live in Seattle, you should have access to whatever you need. If you can't get enough solar power, you should have oil or whatever you need to make it work. What I'm saying is,
exactly, and all I'm saying
the easiest way is that's the whole point.
There is no shortage of sun. There is no shortage of oil. There is no shortage of coal. There is no shortage of rivers to dam. In fact, they're knocking dams down now, and that is to restrict your hydro use. That's the whole game. I'm not anti. Please understand, I'm not anti-solar or any of that kind of stuff. I'm not. What I'm saying is that what we need is cost-effective, reliable, stable electrical system. As you destroy the electrical system, you are running out the last vestiges of any manufacturing that can go on in the country, because what you're doing, or what they're doing, is jamming up the price of electricity. And the companies can't compete, so they move offshore as designed by the very people that are out there saying that we need to use renewable energy. It's not there's anything wrong with renewable energy. It's the game behind the renewable energy that is destructive.
Exactly.
Is all I'm saying.
And if you watch the Weather Channel, you see where they have all these giant windmills to harness the sun energy, and they are in Arizona and building them in Nevada. Those things are horribly expensive.
And they don't
I've seen some that they just let weeds grow up around. They spent millions of dollars to construct these things, and then they just let them sit there.
Well, yeah.
You should look that up. It's a huge scam.
The difference between renewable energy and power is pretty simple, okay? Power is something that you can call on when you need it. Renewable energy is something you get when it decides to give it to you, be it wind or solar or whatever. You cannot make enough power from a wind turbine to make the steel to build a wind turbine. So it's not what you would call a power source. It's a decoration, and the decoration, it's a new age decoration to bring us into the new age of clean, renewable community living. And it is false, false, false.
Yeah.
But they're making it that way. It's them. They're doing it to us.
No, but it's the same thing. If you want to put up a windmill, if you want to run your house off of solar and wind,
it'll double your property taxes here.
Will it ever put up your property taxes?
It'll double it. You'll be paying like $8,000 in property taxes every year.
Yeah, if you
so they get you either way. They get you coming and going. You decide, okay, I'm going to get off the grid. They penalize you.
Control the problem, control the reaction, control the solution.
And have you guys heard? Because I've discussed this with people who have solar, and they've said, over the last, 15 years, it's gotten worse and worse. And they swear it's this geoengineering or whatever the heck they're spraying that's cutting down their light. They can't get enough light. They're saying they get down to 30 or 40% of what they used to be able to get.
Yeah. But see, the thing is, there it goes again. We are letting them do it. Okay.
Well, that's the problem. And the only thing I can think of right now is that if maybe somebody could call Mike Adams, I'm sure he could have a solution for us. Maybe he would come on the show and help us out with some of these things.
He puts you on hold.
They have control of everything, you guys. They've got everything. They've got the media. It's so big, it's hard to beat. And the only way you're going to be able to beat it is for people in small local communities to start making a splash on a national level.
Yeah, and people have to be united in this.
We're coming up to a break, folks, but I just got to put out this warning. I was drinking my tyrannical tangerine Alex Jones juice and driving around wearing my pinhole glasses, and I crashed my unicorn into a leprechaun. There was rainbows all over the road, rainbows.
Oh, my God.
They had been actually thrown out.
They were way back, back in history when they first came to be. When they, it was just a struggle between the powers that be. You're talking hundreds and hundreds of years ago. A good person to interview about that would be Michael Stubbings. Michael Stubbings can give you that one. He's a resident expert on that. I'm still learning a lot of that from him and doing a lot of investigation.
Okay, but back on attacking, on exposing really what Mike Adams is.
And we're back live, I believe.
And yeah, we are. And also his buddy.
Sorry, John.
Alex Jones. Alex Jones is more. It's hard to tell which one of those people are most well known, because when you get out here in the real world, like where we are, and you say, "You ever heard of Alex Jones? You ever heard of Mike Adams?" They're like, "No."
And what's the real world? What do you mean the real world?
Out here in my little town, when I walk around and people ask me, "What have you been doing, Julie?" And I've been writing articles, and I tell them what I'm doing. And I say, "You ever heard of Alex Jones? You ever heard of Mike Adams?" Well, nobody that I bump into on the street out here has ever heard of Alex Jones or Mike Adams.
I guess because they don't go in alternative field or something. But anyway,
we went to go see Prometheus at the movie theater about a month and a half ago, and I had to take a picture of it because right there in front of the movie theater, it was a multiplex, like 10 screens or something. Right there at the intersection was a stop sign, and right under the word stop, somebody had slapped an Infowars.com sticker under it. StopInfowars.com.
Awesome. That's a good idea. But, I don't encounter anybody around here that knows who they are. I have never asked one single person if they know who Alex Jones or Mike Adams is that knows who they are.
Because they don't follow the
that's what I'm trying to tell people. You got the whole world is asleep, and you got these operatives that have come online that were there waiting for the online crowd to come, because that was the next method of control. It's replacing television for a lot of people. And they're stirring a civil war up among the gun toters of America right under the unsuspecting public's eye. They don't even know this is going on.
Yeah, I know. A lot of people don't.
That's just ridiculous. That's sedition. That's treason.
It is treason.
It's no different than what Obama's doing, passing the NDAA and all those. It's no different. It's all the same animal.
I have a local counselor here in my own municipality who I got to get this put together because I haven't recorded, who agrees that our local council and every other council in this country is guilty of breach of trust and treason.
Absolutely.
As they covertly push through sustainable development, which is Agenda 21, which is an international system of governance that was never put through your Senate or our parliaments, was never voted on. All these so-called soft laws, which will take away our right of property. It will take away our right of water, our right of electricity. It will take away every right you ever thought you owned.
And who gave FDA the authority to act like the police?
There is no authority. That was one of the other reasons the police showed up in my yard. I wrote our CAO at the municipal hall, who I had a conversation with. I sat in his office for an hour. I have him recorded, and I said, either you're a useful idiot, but you are guilty of treason. And if somebody sat and looked me in the face and told me I was guilty of treason, they would hear something from me. These people just sit there stone-faced cold with no response because they know exactly what they're up to.
Yeah, what they're doing, yeah.
And when I wrote them a letter asking where they got the authority to implement this sustainable development and smart growth nonsense, the response I got, that's what I asked the cops when they came out the next morning, because I wanted a response by the next morning so I get the council meeting. And I was going to call the CAO about 11 o'clock in the morning. About 10:30, I looked out my window, and I got 3 cops walking towards my house with their cruisers parked all over my yard. And I walked out, and I said, "Oh, you must be the response to my letter." But it's bad, people, and the problem is that we yak away here on the internet or on these radio shows now, which is great. Hopefully somebody's listening to us. But Julia is absolutely correct. I can walk around my town And I don't know anybody in this town, and I've talked to a gutload of people who know what sustainable development is, know what Agenda 21 is, knows what the local government's up to. It's pathetic, and the only place we can possibly stop this is from the local level, because it is a plan that is global to local, the local working to give all power to the global. So the only place we can stop this or make any dent in it is from the local level. And the question then becomes, how do we go about getting this needed knowledge to the local people? Because when you talk to them, they just glaze over. You know, you want to talk about Justin Bieber, you want to talk about American Idol, you want to talk about any mindless nonsense, they're there.
Dancing with the Stars, you know,
but
that's stupid.
But the moment you ask them to use their brain function, they go dead on you.
Yeah.
And fight something, that's the thing.
You know, I'm thinking about putting up posters around town with my mayor on it, you know. And just if you do it with a question mark, you really can't get in trouble. You know, is this man guilty of treason? Turn it into a question, right? As he implements sustainable development, right?
And that's the guy.
I'm thinking of doing that around town, because we've got to do something. I mean, this is ridiculous.
Well, this man and was considered a real dangerous criminal. It was arrested because he was collecting rainwater.
Oh yeah.
Well, he deserves to be in prison.
Right, because he collected rainwater, and he was charged.
That's not socially just, because that water I could have used.
Yeah.
I mean, the man deserves to be doing hard time somewhere.
Right.
No, I just kidding, but I mean that's how.
I know you could have used it if they collected, but the attack is that they said the rain belonged to the state. And he could not.
The state, see, this is the problem, okay? The corporations, and if you go back, and I keep saying this, Rockefeller said 99, okay? Something has to take the place of government, and it seems like business is the obvious entity to do it. Now, your government is not a government, it is a corporation. The idea is to hand over all resources, control of resources, to the corporations. Okay, as they did with the rainwater in Bolivia. That's the first place that the Bechtel Corporation, because Bolivia owed money on an IMF loan, Bechtel was given the rights to the water in Bolivia. Now, what happened in Bolivia was all of a sudden Bechtel cranks up the rate of water way up. People were actually losing their houses because they couldn't afford the water bills, and Bechtel was repoing their houses. Then the people resorted to collecting rainwater, at which point Bechtel went to the government, which is another corporation, and said they are stealing our water because all water that lands in Bolivia is ours. Okay, and finally the Bolivian people got fed up, and there was a shootout. A few people got killed, and Bechtel backed off. But that is the template that they're attempting to lay down on top of us.
Right, and if we don't do something,
okay,
if we don't do something, they're gonna do it.
Well, once the corporations own your water, your air, your electricity, your food, where does that put you? You are completely screwed. And
they're doing that to the Hopi.
But that's the prelude to all of this stuff, is these small raids on local farmers and people who put up a lemonade stand or sell eggs off the farm or
sell cancer treatment that is not.
You are not.
That's already going on. The corporations buying your waters. I don't know if you know about it, but the Hopis and the Navajos out there, they've already drained their aquifers, the corporations and everybody. And
right.
Now they're trying to work out deals with the people in the tribe where they take their surface water too. And the elders of the tribe want to agree to do it because they're just as corrupt as our government. And the people are protesting and trying to...
Yes, but...
Chris Barney is involved in that.
These two things go together, okay? Environmentalism and the corporate takeover go together. They mesh nicely because when they get a hold of all of our resources through the corporate power structure, that's when they start to seriously limit everything that we have, because we have to be socially just and we have to share, right? and therefore they put up the false shortages, and therefore they restrict what food we get, restrict what water, electricity we get, and continually crank up the cost.
Well, meanwhile, I live on the Great Lakes.
Well, I know. I live on a Great Lake here. I mean, I tell people, I have people in my town. I live on the shore of Lake Huron, and I have people in my town running around saying we suffer from a fresh water shortage. Complete lunacy.
We got a break, Daniel.
The Great Lakes has drowned and killed more people than the Bermuda Triangle.
Oh, no.
And he's certainly not living very ecologically, I don't think. When you look at
No.
his videos and you look at the 10 or 15 bodyguards and you look at all the stuff he's not practice what you preach, brother.
No, he doesn't.
Yeah, what is up with that? But before we get into that, Dr. Carpenter, I was wondering if you could give out the petition that you have.
Yeah, it's a long URL, and the easiest way to do it, there's two ways. One, you can go to change.org, and you can type in Dr. Carpenter lasers into the search box. Or you can go just to medicalconspiracy.com, and there's links in the right-hand column right there, close to the top. But we definitely need signatures. We need to spread this.
Because the more signatures we have, the more we can get attention to what has been happening, what FDA has done, and the bottom line of what happened. The bottom line of what happened is stopping anything that can make a difference in cancer treatment and is inexpensive and can help people get well, not get more and more sick. And it's none of these survivors. People just get the treatment and go home and continue working like nothing happened. And yes, the healing process is slow because the body on its own attacks that tissue, removes it. It's a slow process and involves swelling and inflammation because that's how the body heals. And people have to be educated on realizing what is happening. There are also ways to ease and accelerate that. But then again, they needed to be done by a member of the AMA, and they don't want to work with us. So we do the best we can, but the solution is here. And we need to bring attention on what's happening. I have they took all the files, they took everything, thinking that I won't have any backup, so I won't have any way to contact the patient. I won't have any way to find out what's happening. They took all the files, and I said, you presented this on the basis of 3 complaints. What about the other ones that are happy? Did you contact any?
You had an AMA affiliate show up as one of your witnesses, Dr. Carpenter, an MD, and they declared that person's testimony to be completely prejudicial. And
not valid because she's not an oncologist. She's not an oncologist.
You found a dirty courtroom.
Yeah.
You found a dirty judge.
But anyway, so what happened? I'm telling you, the latest thing I found out is they're not contacting the names I gave them of patients that are happy and they're willing to talk about it. They said they would look at that, and they didn't take those. They didn't do anything. They're contacting the others. And I got a patient. She's not on the list I gave him, and she has been contacted, and she said, I'm not talking to FDA. And I said, well, call him up and tell him, you're happy, you're doing fine, okay?
That's right.
But they're contacting the others, not the names I gave them. See how dishonest the whole thing is?
Well,
totally dishonest.
Back in the 80s when Brzezinski was going through the real crisis, that is what the state of Texas did. Apparently, they spent upwards of $2 million to solicit. 60. Well, it was huge. It was a huge amount of money, though. The state of Texas spent to solicit ex-Brzezinski patients and try to sway them into, joining their cause and try to get some to file lawsuits.
Yeah. And now they're trying to get other people, and they really have had difficulty finding people that wanted to join the lawsuit, and now they are contacting them directly. And the letter that this patient received was signed Jeremy Bain, okay? And he's the one that is supposed to contact the names I gave him. He didn't. He's contacting the others. See how dishonest the whole thing is?
So where does your case stand? Where does your case stand at the moment?
Investigation.
That's
And we'll take it.
It's investigation.
Yeah, and we'll take everything in the meantime.
Right, and right, take everything so you cannot function, you cannot do anything, you cannot survive. It's investigation, and that's it. That's why they're contacting people. But what I am saying is go and sign the petition, because the more we have, the more strength we have in presenting and exposing what is going on. Not just what they did to me, what they're doing to the public, because they are not allowed to access something, either through fear, misinformation, or bullying, basically, making them believe they cannot choose the treatment they want. See? And that's what you were saying. It's only between the patient and me what the patient decide to do. Oh, but you're giving them false information. Look at our website. We have evidence. We have pictures. We have all sorts of backing of what we are saying.
Yeah.
And one of the things they were saying was, she in their petition, in their request for a warrant, they're saying this is the information package she sends out, and the location and the money and all of this, and they forgot the other side of the info packet we sent out. On one side is the information, right? Right, they omitted. The first talked about outrageous charge, which is ridiculous because it's really low compared of the cost of chemo radiation. But on the other side of the packet we sent out, there are reports of research done by major universities like Stanford, Rice University, Dartmouth, that they are actually copying what we do. Only they still use drugs, but some are using the nano particle, they call it. They're just compounds. That's all they are.
Yeah.
But,
And you are not copying them because your patent predates every one of them.
Predates everything. But I'm showing, see, once the patent was granted, all these people were copying it, and this is the evidence. And especially most of them, and especially the Stanford report, says they're doing it word by word what we do. So does the school of medicine, that crooked place in Arkansas, in Little Rock Medical School. So they're all doing that, and our info packet gives that. They never mention it. They're not mentioning the copycats. They're not mentioning the universities. The only thing...
And Mike Adams isn't saying anything, is he?
Right.
No, and see, that's why a lot of people, I've never heard of Carpenter. She's never been on natural news. I've never heard Mike Adams talk about her. So,
I just came up with a really good name for the article, a real good title, because that's one of the hardest parts for me.
Okay.
Is why isn't Mike Adams talking?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's a good one.
That's a key question, too.
Yeah. And
that's a good one. That's the one. That's it.
And the other beauty is what FDA said to me was, well, this kind of research should be done in a university. You can't do it. Oh, really? I have spent 28 years of my life on this. What do you mean as a university only can do it?
And you were in the university for a long time. You earned your degree in the university, didn't you?
But
so does that not qualify you to do it?
No, because I don't do it in a university. They didn't say...
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Your degree came from the university, didn't it?
It did, but it's in physics, so it's not in medicine. You have to work
But just getting back to the
Aren't they confident enough that they taught you well enough to know how to do this? Or doesn't the university have enough faith in their own, ability to teach you how to do this, to know that you can do it?
But they didn't teach me how to do this. All I have is I have a degree in physics, which one of my professors said is a license.
Exactly.
But you don't you don't need to go to university to be intelligent. You don't need to go to university to investigate things.
No.
You don't have to go to university to look outside the box. In fact, if you go to university, chances are you are stuck in the box.
Absolutely.
And you will discover nothing except what is taught to you.
You will not discover, especially with medical schools and medicine, because they are owned by drug company. You think they're going to allow research that doesn't involve drugs? They're not. So, and
we're coming up to a break here, folks.
Whoever said that you have to be involved in a university to discover something? Where is it written?
We're coming up to a break, so we'll pick this up on the other side. You're listening to Canada Live on OrionTalkRadio.com. And welcome back to Canada Live. And, you know, if you're tuning in to Canada Live and you like this broadcast, you want to help support us, we've got a new juice crystals packet, Ron and John's magical berry juice crystals. And if you buy like 1,000 packets, we're going to defeat the New World Order, folks. I don't know what to tell you. We're gonna win. Like if everyone just buys 1,000 packets of Ron and John's juice crystals. You get the berry magic or magical berries, whatever you want to call it. There's a bunch. We're going to come out with some new flavors, and we're going to beat the New World Order.
We're going to have a juice bomb.
Oh, yeah.
A juice bomb.
What are they? Are they kind of like candy or something?
No, I think
can you eat the crystal? Can you just eat it as a crystal? I mean,
it says on the packet, "Do not eat." You know, like those Silka gel packets.
So what do? You dilute it?
I guess you mix it with enough water, and it's not that poisonous, and you can drink.
Oh, great!
Enough.
So if you otherwise it's poisonous.
Yeah, I mean we haven't brought it out to market yet, but we should have the link up to our site soon for the Ron and John's magical juice crystals to defeat the New World Order.
Is that made by the same company that make that what was it? That Bob Tuscan breakfast cereal? You remember that?
Oh, the fluoride flakes, the Bob Tuscan fluoride flakes. I don't know. They're FDA approved. I don't know why anyone didn't buy them.
Okay, how about the chemo flakes? Do they have any chemo flakes?
Chemo flakes. Yeah. The cancer.
Yeah, you need some of those.
New chemo flakes.
Chemotherapy.
Hell yeah.
Everybody should have chemo preventive.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, we seem to be losing Dr. Carpenter's signal here. I'm not sure if we have Ron back.
Am I back?
Oh, yeah, you seem to be clear, Ron, so.
Yeah, they're just...
Well, you know what Nathan said last week? He said, you're nobody until the COINTEL come.
Yeah, I saw that. That was awesome.
Actually, I think what he said was, you're nobody until somebody accuses you of being COINTEL.
Accuses you of being COINTEL. Yeah,
Okay,
that's what he said.
Does that mean that I am somebody because I was rated?
Oh, yeah. We went on that angle,
Yeah,
and I said, you're nobody until the COINTELPRO hit you. And actually, no, you're nobody until somebody spray paints obscenity on your car, breaks your windows out, contacts all your neighbors, and sends the FDA in after you.
Yeah.
Wow.
Then you're somebody, but then what?
Well, wear your badge of honor, because it is. And see, the whole ticket is of this whole thing to win is that they are going out of their way to intimidate any way they can. And once they understand you can't be intimidated, then they lose their power over you. Period.
Yes, but in this society, you cannot survive without income, and that's what they're doing, not allowing me to survive.
Well, that's part of their intimidation process, right?
They can do that, but they cannot change. I will never. Do you know that
you're not going to lay down?
No.
No.
I'm gonna go. If they're taking me down, it's gonna be by my fighting all the way. Okay?
That's right. And,
but
yeah, that's the only way. That's the only way to keep them from getting you.
But it's
you
the
have to
only
refuse
way
to go down.
See, what happens is that intimidation and bad-mouthing and all this kind of stuff that goes on is to shut you up. And there comes a time when people finally realize that this person is not laying down. So there's a good chance this person is telling the truth. And that's when you get the switch over in the mindsets.
I hope so.
And I've seen that happen in the past, and it takes a long time. But at the same time, people keep looking at these individual trees. Like I've been researching this stuff since the 70s, and when they started bringing wind turbines in here, I explained the scam right away, backed it up with all the documentation right away, and people were yelling at me because I didn't want to save the planet. I mean, I was getting verbally abused, man.
Yeah.
I had threats coming at me because I was anti-save the planet. And years later, people, I ran for mayor here, and people came up and said, I want to apologize because, you know, we were calling you crazy and everything else, but everything you said turned out to be true. And then you say, fine. But then the same people say, but we do have a water crisis. No, we don't. What are you going to come to me in another 4 or 5 years and apologize to me again? This ain't working, folks, right?
I know. Just apology doesn't solve anything. You have to support.
You have to get on the curve and get ahead of the curve. And we can fix this nonsense.
And then they invent things like HARP so they can create bad situations for everybody.
Well, you have to keep
I'm
people
so
in
sick
fear.
of it.
You have to keep people in fear.
I don't know how people just aren't mad. How can you not just be sick of this? How can you let this happen?
Hey, Julie, have you ever done this? I was out golfing with a buddy of mine who's got 2 young girls, and I said, you know, they are going to destroy the lives of your children. That's the plan, okay? And they do this incrementally.
Hey, Ron, we can't hear you, Ron. You're all digital.
Am I? Really?
Yeah.
Sound like craft work. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
somebody's... So maybe hang up on the call and try to reconnect.
I'll just back up for the time.
I don't know
But,
how I don't know how the network is hearing it, but yeah, it sounds really broken up.
Yeah, I was
and
doing
the
it to
other-
Ron and then Dr. Carpenter earlier, but...
Yeah, because, and it was right when I said about the FDA. That's when it happened. And talking about people attacking you because they believe what the system said. Just a couple of weeks ago, let me tell you what happened. Somebody called me, the son of one of my patients, because the patient is an old woman. She had problems. She was on with atrial fibrillation. She was on Coumadin, which is rat poison. And of course, the thinning of the blood makes the healing of the and elimination of the tumor really difficult. Makes it spill blood under the skin. It looks terrible, okay? And it causes real problem at the site of the tumor that has been killed. And of course, the doctors are telling her that it's growing, it's still live cancer, and she needs to have chemo radiation at her age, 84, and surgery and all of that. She understands it, doesn't want it. Her son doesn't understand it and is trying to push her. But he finds the problem is that she follows what I say. So he calls me and tells me I have to tell his mother that she needs to go for chemo radiation. And said, I'm not going to say that. It's not going to happen because she does not need that and the tumor is dead. And he said, well, if you don't do that, I'm going to take you for everything you got if she dies. Well, if she takes chemo, she's going to die. And
You got
then
nothing
they
to
want...
take now.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm going to come after you with everything. Yeah. Okay, that is basically was trying to threaten me with additional action against me if I don't tell his mother a lie. No, it's not going to happen. I am not, as I said, I'm not going to help the system. I'm not going to help the system continue killing people and give my blessing to it. I hate medicine. I got into medicine only to help people, not because I like medicine. Can't stand doctors. Most of them are lying, cheating hypocrites. There might be some good, but they're drowned by the system. So I am not going to do that. I did it just to put an end to the slaughter that is going on, not because I like medicine. And I have to cover my costs to stay open. And, of course, they took everything away, so I wouldn't be able to do it. But it's not because I like to treat patients. I wanted to just collect the results so I could show them, see, this is what happens. These are the results. Let's do it. But they have stopped me because they don't want that. See? And then I get threatened from all directions. And I won't be able to accomplish anything unless I get support from the everyday people that understand what I am doing.
And the sick thing
And the
right
chiefs
here,
come along and threaten you.
and right there at
because they
that
believe
thought,
me.
if Mike Adams, if somebody with a big voice like Mike Adams ran with this story, do you realize that your signatures on the petition would be tenfold what they are now?
They would
Well,
be
that's
blowing
why he
up.
doesn't.
Your traffic on your website, traffic on your radio show would be tenfold what it is now, but they're not going to let that happen. That's why he won't mention a single word about it.
Yeah. That's right.
And it goes to show his true intention, too. I mean,
and if they know that they're in danger of people finding out that if the articles go far enough. Now, a lot of people are hearing about Mike Adams. So, I don't know. They're sneaky.
I'm back? Or where is he?
We're coming back to another break here, so we'll pick this up on the other side. And welcome back to Canada Live on OrionTalkRadio.com. And this is the last segment, so anyone here wants to get in any final thoughts, I guess now is the time.
Well, the only thought I got is that I want to say thank you to Julia, Rick, and Dr. Carpenter, who I've never met before, and this has been a very interesting 2 hours.
Just for your information, Rick is actually the name of Dr. Carpenter's ex-husband. My name's Randy.
That's cool. My apologies.
That's cool. When you said Rick...
Yeah, he helped actually the enemy attack me, so it's one of the enemies, okay, out of his stupidity, but that's another story.
That's when you know you're in the right and you know you're being effective, when they come after you. Because these guys are not nobody. Just because nobody knows who they are. I mean, it's the same as with the Diageo thing. Ian Clark was the most dangerous of all those guys. Okay, he's the one that's going to scare you because even above Mike Adams, he was the one with the power. I know they made it look like Ian Clark lost a lot of money, but if you go watch that Ian Clark videos on YouTube, it's just like Alex Jones. When he's talking, you're like, man, I don't believe the word this guy's saying. Just the look in his eyes. You know, these guys are not nobody, and they're everywhere.
Yeah, well, no, you have to look at it differently. They're everywhere, but look at that. They're really nobodies. They think and they put themselves in a position so people will listen to them. They are not only nobodies, they are very dangerous. And the danger is that instill fear. The first thing is don't be afraid. Remember, there was that person that...
Exactly.
My father greatly disliked Winston Churchill, but he said the one good thing he said was, you have nothing to fear but fear itself. You have to get over the fear and get over the fear of what the government is doing because you can change things and the strength is in numbers. So we have to unite so we can change things in the government, in the healthcare, in everything aspect of our life. Freedom.
And one other thing I'd like to interject, if I could, besides there's nothing to fear but fear itself. Once you understand that, then you have no fear. Once you have no fear, you become dangerous. The other thing is that anger, I saw a thing one time, and all it said was anger is a gift. And I absolutely believe that, because if you cannot get angry about what's going on, then you can be of no help to yourself or anyone else.
Yeah,
so lose the fear and get angry. And I don't mean go get a gun and start shooting at people angry.
No,
I mean just get gut angry about what is happening in your neighborhood and your country and what's happening to your children and your grandchildren. You got to get angry.
Because
that's my opinion as well.
Because the anger gives you energy and the energy that you need to fight. You know, there are some people, some of my patients that were talking to other people and saying, sign the petition. And the excuse that these people were using not to sign the petition because there was a picture in which shows that I'm angry. I am furious of what has been going on. And she said, well, she's bad because she's angry and she is upset. Okay? Well, how can something
that's
like
another trick they're playing. All that love and light stuff, that's another trick they're playing on people. You're not supposed to get mad about anything. Love and light. Well, I'm pissed.
When I try to get people into a conversation about what's going on, they say, well, that sounds all so negative. I just wish to be positive. And this is the same garbage that's being fed to people through the media. I mean, they're just regurgitating what they're being fed, right, without any thought process at all.
That attitude just allows the abuse to go on.
Yeah, and in fact, we have also been told, well, in your show, you're complaining, you're too negative, you have to be more positive, that way you can be helpful. No, being positive, what is positive in this situation? There is nothing positive. The only positive thing Right.
The only thing to be positive about is that we're getting to them.
Right. We need to, the only positive thing is that we have to join forces and fight the system, because what's happening and what is being done to us is wrong. We need to free ourselves. Free. We need to be free of crooked government. We have to change things. We have to be free of a healthcare system that is killing us and making us suffer greatly. We need to fight that back. That's a positive part. But you have to be mad. You have to realize the horrible things that are going on out there, so you can get, like you said, Ron, get angry enough to fight.
And you know what, I don't know the exact expression, but it goes something like, what unites us is greater than what separates us. And
I hope so. Yeah,
you see going on everywhere nowadays, divide and conquer. It's just so thick. And I hear lately, I've just had that thought on my mind, divide and conquer, because I'm seeing it everywhere. Divisionism, within people that otherwise could unite against this tyrannical pyramid that's taking over everything under our nose.
The easiest thing right now.
But they try to accuse us of that. They try to blame us of dividing and conquering when we get after Mike Adams and Alex Jones.
Right. And the same with what's happening.
They try to turn it around on you.
And the same what's happening to us. They say, no, that sounds, somebody posted, oh, that sounds like a phony story. Yeah, look at go to our to the petition location, sign the petition, and read what FDA said to get a judge's signature for the warrant. Okay, the lies they have put down. This is not our story. It's right there in black and white. Read it. Sign the petition and read it.
And the patients that have signed actually leave, nice comments there and read what some of these people have said. I mean, it'll give you a different perspective for sure.
Yeah, just read, and it will tell you the lies of FDA to justify their raid, and then they call it investigation. And the story is all there. And also, if you check our videos that say the truth comes to the surface, you can read how all the attacks against us about these people dying are all lies. It's in black and white, the evidence. How can people ignore it just because they're not reading it? Just read it. Look at the video. Look at the results. Look at what people, patients are saying. Look what's posted on our website about the healing process. It's the truth is all there. It's just a question of paying attention. And then let's unite and fight the system on everything. The healthcare, the abuses of the stock market, the big companies, the big corporations, the drug companies, everything. The government that is being paid and bought and paid for by all these big corporations that are making billions on what? Our money. The money we work hard to earn, and then we turn it to the drug companies or other the banks just for the right to live in a house. Come on.
And then they do things that make you sick so they can get more of your money while they make you pretend to make you well.
And then they steal everything, and they steal your house that you have put out an enormous amount of money. There's
realize? What, 10 vacant houses for every single homeless person in this country now? Or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh, and do you know if you get to stay in the house, okay? Let me tell you something. On a 30-year loan, a house which price was $185,000. At the end of the 30 years, how much money have you put out? $580,000. Okay?
Yes.
If that is not robbery, I don't know what is. Okay? People should stop and think about it. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
So please,
again,
stand up, join us, and let's fight. That's what I had to say.
I'm doing the best I can.
And I'm doing the best I can.
And we appreciate
all I can do is right.
I know. We need help from all directions, and that's why we're doing this.
Well, the social network is a good one. If you can get it to break loose on there, it's a good one.
Well, and Julie, you've helped us a lot just in the last 2 weeks. You might not realize it, but you've brought some traffic Dr. Carpenter's way on the petition and on the Facebook social as well.
Yeah, if you start putting up some pictures and things like that and sharing them from your page, that talk about the medical conspiracy and the things that they've done, people will start to link back to your page, and it'll start to get bigger that way too. Keep posting your petition and what's going on. Just repost that, but post it in the middle of a lot of things that get shared.
And expose Mike Adams, because too many people believe in him.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
All of it.
And thank you, John, for giving us the time to say all of this.
Yes, it was definitely an interesting show, probably like no other.
I wish Mike could have heard it.
Well, we'll take that as a compliment.
We'll send it to Mike, and he will hear it.
Let's do that.
I'm sure.
Absolutely, and invite him on to debate anything we talked about. Let's get him out of the woodwork here. I don't like people hiding behind their show pages and stuff like that.
Yeah, you think he's going to take that on? I doubt it.
Don't touch my junk. Don't touch my junk.
I wish you would have posted that link to my wall. Randy, you should have posted the link to my Facebook wall. I'm over at the neighbor's house.
Oh, really?
I could have tuned in while we were talking.
Well, I did, actually, only at the halftime.
Is it on my wall?
Yeah.
Don't forget, next Sunday between 1 and 3 o'clock, Canada Live right here on Orion Talk Radio. Tune in and get some real news.
All right, thanks.
Thanks, John. Ron.
Take it easy, guys.
Thank you.
Take care, guys.
You too.
Yeah, thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, Julie. Thanks.
Local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent